rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Headlines spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? Holy cow. What an evening. What an evening it was last night. What a day it's going to be today. It is Thursday. I love it. I love it. That just means we're one step closer to Friday. You know what happens on Friday? It gets so much fun on Friday. I need to look at something. I was trying to do this last night, but I ran into a problem where I had to pull down a video and re-upload it because it would have got me in all kinds of trouble, and I didn't want to do that. So you guys had no idea, except you were just like, what happened to Shizzy's video? Did he get taken down? No, it just had something that I didn't want shown on the YouTubes. So I had to go and remove it from every space where it could be found. Ooh, it was so bad. It was so bad. I didn't want anybody to have to worry about it. It was quite fun though. It was quite fun. What was it? It was this. And I meant to look at this last night. Let me see. I think it's there. Let's see. I don't see it. I'll have to look for it here after a little bit. Maybe later this evening I'll find it and talk about it then. But yeah, I'm supposed to be on the Down Home Network what is it? I think it's Saturday, but I'd have to get a confirmation on that one. I'll figure it out. I will let you guys know when that is, and I'll post a link up there as soon as I figure it out. Because I'm like, that's I need to be promoting that right there. It's going to be a blast. If you haven't ever seen the Down Home Network, it's definitely worth a look into. And I'm supposed to be there. Like I said, I think it's Saturday. I'll know sooner or later. Don't have any jokes because you're mentally exhausted. Sorry, Slug. It's not my intention to make anybody mentally exhausted. I'm just mental, I guess. I guess that's the best way you can put it. I'm just slightly mental. Oh my God, what a night! What a night last night. I got so much love for the Yamaha biker who came by, and the lovely Megan Fox. I never even got a chance to update all of that. I'm so bad at this kind of stuff. I can't help it. There it is. I believe this is it right there. There we go. Found it. So I was looking for something else, and as I was doing that, I came up with this little thing right here. A U.S. bankruptcy court judge on Wednesday said, blocked a settlement between families who sued Alex Jones over his false claims about the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School mass pew-pewing, saying their attempt to divide the bankruptcy conspiracy theorists. Bankruptcy conspiracy theorists. I don't think it's a bankruptcy conspiracy theory. I think that, Alex Jones is loud, bombastic, and a conspiracy theorist, but the assets exceed the court's authority. Now, the decision complicates a proposed sale of Jones's InfoWars platform and could spur divisions between the families who sued Jones and won nearly $1.3 billion. Yeah, not million, but billion in Connecticut court cases, and those who won $50 million in Texas courts. Now, the two groups of families had proposed a settlement that would guarantee the Texas families a 25% share of of Jones's future payments made to the Sandy Hook families, with the Connecticut families taking 75%. The U.S. bankruptcy judge Christopher Lopez rejected the settlement at a hearing in Houston, saying the families were asking him to also divide up the assets of InfoWars' parent company, Free Speech Systems, despite the fact that the company has been dismissed from bankruptcy last year. He says, "I can't do that," Lopez said. "The case is closed. That case is closed." Courts in Connecticut and Texas, where some of the families filed their lawsuits, have ruled Jones defamed the families by making repeated false claims that the school shooting, which deleted 20 students and 6 staff members in Newton, Connecticut, was staged as part of a government plot to take PPUs away from the Americans. Now, that's how the judge found. The legal judgments drove Jones and Free Speech Systems into bankruptcy in 2022, and Lopez is appointed bankruptcy trustee to sell Jones's assets. Lopez allowed Free Speech Systems and InfoWars to be sold in Jones's ongoing personal bankruptcy, but he said he preferred a pure sale of the company's equity, which is owned by Jones, rather than allowing InfoWars assets to be broken up and sold separately. Now, the bankruptcy trustee, Christopher Murray, had previously sought to sell InfoWars to the parody news site The Onion. Though the bid was backed by the Connecticut families, Lopez shot that sale down in January, saying that Murray left money on the table in order to win the Sandy Hook family's support. Yeah, they tried to sell it for way, way less because, well, it was The Onion. And we're not going to do that anymore. I don't trust the process, Lopez said. Go sell the equity. The family's attorneys had said the agreement would smooth the way for a sale of Jones's assets, including InfoWars, after their previous disagreements over how to pursue Jones's assets in the past. The Texas-based families focused on taking more cash from Jones, while the Connecticut-based families prioritized the shutdown of Jones's InfoWars company. Chris Mattei, an attorney for the Connecticut family, said they remain determined to enforce every penny of judgments against Alex Jones. So that's what they're not after closure on this. They're after shutting Jones down. That's it. That's all that it boils down to. I don't know how many of you actually had seen that trial, but it was a little weird and a little shady. A little weird, a little shady. I don't think it was proper. And there's also a lot of appeals that are still happening with that they're trying to work through. And that becomes a bigger issue. I mean, it is just ridiculous. But speaking of money, Speaking of money, a Soros-backed radio station gave up the locations of ICE agents in California. Ouch. A year ago, almost to the week, Ernst Salvato Blofeld, scratch that, checks notes, George Soros bought a massive stake in a failing radio company, Audacity. Even though it had filed for bankruptcy, Audacity was the second largest radio network in the United States, and its stations hosted conservative shows from Glenn Beck, Eric Erickson, Mark Levin. Now, Victoria Taft and Stephen Green wrote some excellent coverage of the situation last year. Soros bought a 40% stake in Audacity for 50 cents on the dollar in a deal that the FCC, under Democrat control, they fast-tracked. And he has more on that in a minute, but that right there, FCC rules, they have a certain amount of time that you're not allowed to own a certain asset for FCC rules. Yeah, there's, and I can't remember what it is. I remember hearing about this whenever it happened, that it never should have been fast tracked. But first things first, naturally, the concern was that Soros would use these stations as outlets for propaganda, which he did, including a large swath of conservative Latin American stations. What did happen at one California station after Soros minions bought that massive, super cheap stake in Audacity is even more alarming. Fox News reports emphasis is added. A group backed by Soros, a far-left kingmaker, purchased stake in more than 200 Audacity radio stations across America last year. Among them was the San Francisco-based KCBS 740 AM, which has come under fire for revealing live locations of undercover ICE vehicles and agents that were conducting deportation operations in the San Jose area. Now, the FCC's Enforcement Bureau has already sent a formal letter of inquiry to the radio station as part of the FCC investigation. The Enforcement Bureau proceeding is inquiring whether the radio station, which is licensed to operate by the FCC, is violating the terms of the FCC license, which requires that they operate in the public interest. The formal Enforcement Bureau letter notes that the ICE agents were operating at the time in an area known for violent gang activity. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr is investigating and pledges to hold any broadcasters who participate in this type of behavior accountable. He says he wants to express his thanks and appreciation to DHS and ICE agents. These law enforcement professionals are honorably serving this country and carrying out vital missions. Their safety is paramount. The FCC will hold broadcasters accountable for complying with the public interest obligations, Carr said in Fox News Digital. The reports were brazen in their identification of ICE activity. On January 26th edition of KCBS Radio Weekend News, it revealed specific information about undercover ICE agents who were carrying out an operation on the east side of town. The Santa Clara County Rapid Response Network, which is a community defense projecting system for immigration communities against deportation threats, first reported the activity on its platforms, the host told the listeners. The KCBS Radio Weekend News host then revealed the specific make, model, and color of several unmarked vehicles used in the operation. The station also revealed the exact locations of several ICE agents working in the area. Now, here's hoping the FCC will follow through on its threats and hold reporters, station managers, and even Audacity responsible. So let's turn to that sweetheart deal that Soros received that allowed such egregiously terrible thing to happen. Both houses of Congress have pointed out that the FCC's fast tracking of the deal that allowed Soros to buy 40% of Audacity for dirt cheap smacked of an effort by Democrats to silence voices that dissent from left-wing narrative. Now, the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability wasted no time in launching an inquiry to the FCC, issuing a document request to Chair Jessica Rosenchild-Sokol shortly after the FCC announced its decision. Announcing the investigation, Representative Nick Langworth, Republican, New York, said the American people won't stand for backroom deals designed to silence conservative voices and rig our media landscape in the critical months before Election Day. John Kennedy also said in a speech last month, anytime a broadcast license, as is the case with Audacity, is transferred, the FCC has to approve it. So Mr. Soros' purchase of WWL radio and the other 219 radio stations had to go before the FCC, and it did. And it went. The approval from Mr. Soros went through the FCC like green grass through a goose. Kennedy went through green grass like a goose. It was a party line vote. It was last September. All three Democrats, there are 5 people on the FCC, all 3 Democrats said let it go, and it has been alleged that they short-circuited the normal process, which happened. What happened was that some of the members of media have called the Soros shortcut. They just got together and rammed it through. The deal wasn't on the up and up, and I hope the FCC will look into it, as well as the dangerous radio report in San Francisco. Full disclosure, our parent company, Salem Communication, is in the radio business as well, and so this whole matter is definitely of interest to PJ Media. And here's what's crazy. You won't find much about this story in the mainstream press. Oh, no. He did a quick internet search and couldn't find anything beyond Fox News and a few affiliates who repeated the Fox report. In other words, most traditional media doesn't want you to read or hear the truth. That's why it's important to support those who will report and stand up for the truth, like all of the talented writers like Megan Fox, of course, PJ Media. One way you could do that is becoming a VIP member. PJ Media VIPs get deeper dives in important issues, as well as podcast commenting capability and an ad-free experience. And if you use the promo code FIGHT, you can get a 60% off, and they appreciate if you support their mission. I do. Not saying that you have to. Speaking of crazy morning chat, how you doing, Volstorm? Oh, my brother, I need to chat with you at some point. We got so much to talk about. I hope you're doing well, brother. We'll talk later. We'll talk later. We got things to discuss. If you're available, it'll be cool. It is it'll be very, very quite helpful. And of course, we've got a PR fallout on this story reported yesterday, which was a fallout of Trump's Gaza plan. So this gets really crazy. When Hurricane Trump first descended upon D.C. in 2017, people weren't sure what to make of the orange-hued, thin-skinned president. His entire candidacy was so utterly absurd, so ridiculously improbable that when he actually won, we sought a simple explanation. Maybe Steve Bannon was the genius behind the scenes and Trump was his puppet. That was the popular theory for a little while, remember? Democrats called Bannon Trump's puppet master. Time magazine called him the great manipulator. But after Trump kicked Sloppy Steve to the curb in 2018, that theory was discredited. With or without Bannon, Trump was still Trump. Love him or hate him, he consistently, exactly 100% himself. Clearly, Sloppy Steve wasn't the puppeteer. If anything, the opposite was true. The more we watch Trump, the more we understand he's not capable of allowing any third party to control him. His personality, his instincts, and unflappable self-confidence make it absolutely impossible for anyone else to pull those strings. What you see is what you get. And that's good, because if any other U.S. president had announced an American takeover of the Gaza Strip, all hell would have broken loose. It would have been a PR disaster. If Biden or Obama had made that announcement, whoo, boy, the GOP would have risen in unanimous opposition. Right now, Trump is the beneficiary of an enormous reservoirs of goodwill. It gives him extra latitude in deal making. His rapid-fire kinetic whirlwind of effort and activity contrasts beautifully with the withering corpse of President Biden. Say what you want, at least Trump is trying something. But reservoirs of goodwill don't last forever, and you're not going to convince the American people that the key to making America great again is to build casinos in the Gaza Strip. It's just not going to happen. Interestingly, Trump's Gaza proposal seemed lifted from a 20-year-old Dennis Miller routine. Warning, language, start watching at the 3 mark. And I'm not pulling that up because that will probably get me something on the, on the YouTubes that I don't want to have my stuff removed. And he says, what can we do to placate the Palestinians? How can we immoralate the situation over there? Is there a historical precedent for a group of people who feel that they've been robbed of their land by Johnny-come-lately? In the strictest Swiftian sense of the word, I have a modest proposal, and I'm not saying it'll work, but nothing else seems to have worked. I say we give the Palestinians the casinos, and they're already pre-named: the sands, the dunes, the desert. What Trump is proposing will never see the light of day. It's a non-starter. American troops getting shot, kidnapped, and abducted in Gaza, or spending billions to rebuild downtown Gaza when Los Angeles is on fire. North Carolinians are still without power. Yeah, and parts of Florida are still without power. How many days now, Dan? The major U.S. cities have been reduced in generational cesspools of despair. Crime and poverty simply isn't a viable political position. If Biden had proposed this deal after meeting one-on-one with Netanyahu, we'd be wondering if the Israeli prime minister was taking advantage of a senile old man. Elder abuse. After all, it would sound like Biden got rolled. Unless Trump's master plan is relocating the Gazans to Greenland, which would be awesome, it'd be hard to see how the pieces fit. Trump's theory, perhaps, is that the status quo is unworkable. Therefore, the smartest strategy is to kick over the table and change the status quo. And in some ways, he's not wrong. Peace in the Middle East will not be achieved without dramatically upsetting the apple cart. But there's also a chance that peace in the Middle East isn't in the cards right now, and peace won't be possible until the Palestinians love their children more than they hate the Jews, which sadly will probably take multiple generations. War and peace are a lot like a marriage. It's not something you can decide all on your own. The other party can and will make that decision for you. If Hamas wants war, Israel is at war. If your spouse wants a divorce, you're probably getting a divorce. It's just that simple. The PR benefit of Trump's announcement is that it positions his administration as a bold, creative problem solvers. Plus, it certainly alters the status quo, tossing the Middle East talking points out the window. And just as importantly, Trump communicated something important to the Palestinian people. Your land and your future have value, and together we can build a beautiful tomorrow. That's all very nice, but that's not enough to offset the PR liabilities. Trump either needs to clarify his policy or reboot his proposal, because the political consequences are very unfavorable. Yeah, Biden did meet with Netanyahu about policy. We never heard what they said. As far as we know, Biden was talking about cuties. Oh, God, that's horrible. That's horrible. God, you guys are so bad. You guys are so bad. I think it's hilarious. But he's got more radical plans. Him doing this in Palestine isn't the only radical plan he has. He also has a plan to force Putin to talk peace. That's another one. Now, it's been a busy month for Trump 47's administration, the first few days in February. All right, so you hope you forgive us if we missed one of those potentially biggest developments until the full 36 hours after it happened on Monday. It was Tuesday evening, a good 3 weeks after lunch on Monday, in Trump 47 Standard Time, that I read about another one of those crazy, stupid Trump ideas that might work. If world peace is your thing, and I'm not even talking about this crazy plan to make Gaza casinos again, although I will have more on that later today in Crazy Talk Volume 2. Well, that'll be from PJ Media, not me. U.S. President Donald Trump said on February 3rd that his administration is continuing efforts to end the ridiculous war in Ukraine, but it will continue supporting Kyiv's defense against Russian aggression. VOA reported on Tuesday, which is nothing new, but this is in exchange for the military aid, Trump said. Ukraine must give the United States access to its rare earth elements essential for the high-tech industry. We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earths. Trump said, we're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earths and other things. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz accused Trump of being very selfish and very self-centered with the proposal, but to be fair, Scholz is an idiot. Let me tell you why Trump's proposal could prove over-the-top brilliant, and it's more about finding the necessary leverage to force Vladimir Putin to recognize that jaw is better than war. The time for peace is now, and I wrote last week in a VIP exclusive essay, this writer did, sorry, and Trump's seemingly self-centered proposal from this week might just get us there. And another thing, I realize how disappointing certain readers will be by this news, but if you just give up the idea that Trump is going to appease Putin by giving him Ukraine and understand that nobody gets peace by rewarding aggression, I think you'll feel so much more relaxed. The element working hardest against Ukraine's war effort isn't the Russian army, but as he's been reminding readers for almost 3 years now, the West shorts attention span. Trump's deal wouldn't correct that. The earliest reference that he can find out to short attention span is from July 2022, a piece headline Ukraine War, the not quite God's eye view 5 months in. You should reread it. It's held up surprisingly well, but the relevant part is that the Western war material was keeping the Ukraine army fighting. Anyone who doubted the difference in a few modern howitzers and HIMAR launchers have made should now realize how slow the Russian advance has been and how dearly it has cost them. He wrote that, but he also warned the West has a short attention span, so who knows how long our largesse might last. While the largesse has gone on, it has been fitful and incomplete. We send through enough material now and then to keep both sides drawing blood, but never enough to convince Putin that negotiations are in Russia's best interest, and who knows how much was skimmed off by the Biden cabal. Putin has always banked on the West getting bored and giving up. A war in Ukraine is not an indecisive West. Russia can win, but a war against Ukraine that's made a long-term deal of rare earths is in exchange for a steady stream of American weapons. Should a deal like that materialize, Russia's chances are much, much diminished. Zelensky told reporters on Tuesday that Ukraine is open to investment from partners who help us defend our land and push the enemy back with their weapons, their presence, and sanction packages. And this is absolutely fair. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov slammed the proposal, according to Politico yesterday, which tells you a great deal about how Moscow views it. It would be better, of course, for the assistance to not be provided at all, as that would contribute to the end of this conflict. Well, no, Trump's deal would keep Ukraine in the fight at a time when Russia's economy is showing serious wartime strains of inflation, labor shortages, and crippling 21% interest rates that even defense contractors are choking on. If we continue like this, most companies will essentially go bankrupt, Sergei Shemov's head of the giant Rostec defense contractor warned in December. At rates of more than 20%, I don't know of a single business that can make a profit, not even an arms trade. Ambrose Evans Pritchard concluded recently that Moscow's oil export revenues are too low to sustain a high-intensity war, and nobody will lend Putin a kopeck. Now is the moment of leverage. Putin to negotiating table. Trump's rare earths for weapons deal could just do that. But what do I know? I'm just reading what somebody else's opinion is. Neat, had more in common than we thought. Hey, second pot of coffee is ready. Just got here. Papa's Nuts voice sounds different this morning. Yes, I have a preamp. I hope that it doesn't sound too bad. I hope it doesn't crack and sound distant and far away. Sounds a little more employable. How's that? Speaking of coffee, I think I need to get just a little bit more here in probably about 10-15 minutes. So if you're thinking of getting up and getting coffee, just wait for about 10 minutes. I have another story I want to read you guys. Sounds sharp and clear. Well, that's good. I hope it sounds sharp. That's the point. I had to do a little bit of tweaking yesterday, which made it much better. Well, so that's how it goes. So interesting story here. So did a $500 price for an asthma inhaler cost a man his life? Let's see. When the Senate Democrats and the accompanying rhinos balked at RFK Jr.'s appointment, we all knew why. When one senator after another vomited the same talking points and Elizabeth Warren's head spun 360 degrees and she sprayed the chamber with pea soup, we all knew why. It was not about the jabs, safety, or the children. There's money in them there health hills. As the Romans used to say, Subono? The parents of 22-year-old Wisconsin resident Cole Schmisterfecht have filed lawsuits against Walgreens Pharmacy and United Health Group's Optimum RX. According to the New York Post, Cole suffered from chronic asthma since infancy. He used an inhaler to manage his sickness. Cole had a self-insured plan with United Healthcare through his employer. Under his plan, Cole's cost through Optimum RX would have been between $35 and $66.86 for his inhaler during the deductible period. Okay. On January 10th of 2023, Cole went to his Walgreens for a new inhaler. He was informed that it was no longer covered and he would need to pay $513.19. Since Cole did not have the money, he decided to use his emergency rescue inhaler to get by. Faced with the pain, the rent, or buying an inhaler, Cole opted to pay the rent. On January 15th, he was taken to the emergency room because of an asthma attack had asphyxiated him. He lapsed into a coma and his parents took him off life support on January 21st. The family is now seeking damages from Walgreens and Optimum RX, the Post reported. In the fall of 2023, Optimum allegedly changed the list of drugs it would cover in 2024, with Ativar Discus being excluded from the covered medication. The pharmacy care business is accused of not relaying its formulary of covering drugs to its customers, an alleged violation of Wisconsin law that requires such businesses to notify patients at least 30 days before coverage runs out. The suit claims United Health Group is one of the 3 pharmacy benefit managers, PBMs, in the country, overseeing more than 79% of fulfillment of drug prescriptions. The Schmitternecks accuse PBMs of artificially driving up healthcare costs in several ways, including forcing customers to choose more expensive medication when there's a cheaper alternative on the market. The heartbroken parents claim Walgreens and its employees didn't take the necessary steps to help the Schmittnecks find medication for his asthma. They also attacked Optimum RX for taking the inhaler and its generic counterpart off the formulary list, knowing the patient would leave without the necessary asthma medication his physician prescribed. As noted earlier, United Healthcare owns Optum. Those with United Insurance purchase their prescriptions through another subsidiary of aforementioned Optum RX. United is bigger than most people think. According to Securities and Exchange Commission, United Healthcare Group has 317 subsidiaries in the United States and abroad, and they do have an extensive list. Speaking of Optum, the website brands owned by reports that under United there is not just Optum and Optum RX. Optum is a leading subsidiary of United Health Group operating as a comprehensive health services platform. It's divided into 3 major segments. Optum Health, Optum RX, and Optum Site. Optum Health focuses on delivering care directly to patients. Optum RX specializes in pharmacy services, and Optum Site provides data and analytics solutions for healthcare systems. Then there's Optum Bank, which handles health savings accounts and payment needs. Quite the little market United has cornered there. As part of his research, he reached out to several healthcare professional acquaintances. One of them used to work in wound care. That nurse told me that when they would visit nursing homes or long-term care facilities, they would be asked to tend to the needs of one patient or another. However, if the patient in question had United Healthcare insurance, they could only be seen by a nurse who was affiliated with a company called Wound Tech. Wound Tech is a Hollywood, Florida wound care company. Since the nurse I talked to worked for another company, the patient and his wound would have to wait until Wound Tech provider could see them. It was not able to determine if Wound Tech is owned wholly or in part by United. corporations are skilled at hiding that kind of information, but it is clear that there is some sort of exclusive agreement in place. You wouldn't know it, but I'm hearing impaired. And yes, I started long before I began approaching the golden years. As a result, I wear hearing aids. And this is Lincoln Brown, not me. I'm good. These aren't hearing aids. Whenever he got him, his insurance was through United. So I could be evaluated by a United healthcare employee. I could only buy hearing aids offered by United if I plan on using my insurance. We no longer use United, so if I need a spare earpiece or if one of the hearing aids has to be replaced, he can go elsewhere or pay out of pocket to United. And for him, the situation is aggravating and inconvenient as hell. For Cole Schmidtneck, the monopoly was deadly. If RAK Jr. does nothing else during his tenure as HHS security, then dismantle the U.S. health cartels and bring those who enable and profit from them to heel, and it will be time well spent. Imagine that. Your dad and uncle are a pharmacist. Optum is one of the worst companies to deal with. My prescription coverage at work is through them, much to my chagrin. Yeah, that is sucks. Hey, Wes and Pam, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Glad you could make it in. I hadn't seen you in a while. Glad you're back. Support your local independent pharmacy. They actually give a damn and put money back into the community. Yeah, if you can. But they're like Walmart. They just come in, they buy those small companies up. My wife and I used to use like it was a private vet to care for the pets that we had, and they changed it over to another vet company, and I'm not going to name and shame them, but they're pretty damn big. They just, the guy was getting old and he sold his company out to this conglomerate because, they offered great benefits to their employees. And I mean, they always seem like they're overstaffed for the amount of people that are coming in and out. It's crazy. But yeah, we ended up leaving them because things would get lost between the cracks. Trying to deal with them was just getting difficult. And so we went to an individual vet for the care of the pets, which is much, much better. I mean, yeah, it's been a pleasure dealing with them on so many different levels. So I just try to avoid a lot of these big, conglomerate companies as much as possible. I mean, sometimes their services are much better, but sometimes they're pretty crappy. Same way with insurance and things like that. I'm not telling you what or where or how to do it, but it sucks if that's all you've got, all that you can be offered through whatever company that you work for. Fortunately for my wife and I, we have HSAs, so that alleviates a lot of stuff right there. That way we don't pay for things we don't need. We can stash that cash away, use it however the hell we want to, for whatever we want to. And a lot of companies will, you don't have to get approval through an insurance company. You just go in and there you go. Done deal. No locally owned pharmacy in Salem, Virginia for 6 years now. Damn, that sucks. That sucks. Good to see you. It's good to see you, JW. It's wonderful that you're here. Yeah, Aetna is owned by CVS. I mean, it's crazy how bad these things are. All right, I'm going to grab myself a cup of coffee. I will be right back. I'm going to give just a little bit of the otters today, a little bit of the otters, and I will see you in just a short bit. Just a short bit.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy kicks and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in a stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk and Shizzy winners chat, we thrive where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, and inside jokes and endless memes. In Shizzy Winner's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, inside jokes and endless memes. We type our hearts, we spam the love. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. Ooh, yeah, we come together night and day. We laugh, we play in our own way. A family in a cyberspace, loving hearts in this virtual place. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream.
Well, you missed Rambo, but I do have the greatest voiceover ever. Like, this voiceover is so 100% accurate. Check this out.
You take my breath, you take my breath, you take my breath. Wow. You take my breath away, you take my breath away, you take my breath away. Oh no. You
I'd get you guys on that one. I'll show that. I'll show that a little bit later on too, because that one made me laugh. Oh, but this is, what the hell? That I knew you guys would enjoy. You gotta come back with something good. As you're getting that warm cup of coffee to your mouth, you see that, you go, it's a good thing I didn't sip. Oh, I like the ones they do for the NFL. Oh yeah. We're having a little too much fun this morning. Oh boy. But this is a good one. I got to show you guys this one too. Because it's going to go into the next story. So let me share this one with you right here.
no. No.
That goes into our next story. That really does. The USAID scandal is getting worse by the minute. The data is coming in so hot and fast today that it's all this guy could do not to fall behind too much. So the numbers all tell the same story. The mainstream legacy media is bought and paid for arm of the deep state. So while he was busy researching how more than 8 million in tax money went to Politico, you did see that story, didn't you? If not, here's the gist of it. Politico LLC, 600,240 Outlaws, 455,140,000. Politico LC, another one, 862,000. Yeah, you start putting the math together. Politico's financials aren't public. He found estimates today that its 2023 revenues were as high as a 400 plus million and as low as 7 million. Whatever the case, nobody forgets who paid it 8 million in subscription fees. Anyway, a couple of hours later, Ian Chong reported the U.S. government gave the New York Times tens of millions in dollars over just the past 5 years, despite paying relatively little money to the New York Times in the years preceding 2021. We know who came into power in 2021. For instance, in August of 2024, the U.S. government awarded $4.1 million to the New York Times. The bulk of the funds came from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, $26.9 million, followed by the National Science Foundation at $19.515 million. Interesting that it was DHHS and NSF ponying up $50 million American taxpayer dollars to a paper owned by a Mexican billionaire at a time when Washington wanted to silence certain voices on health issues pertaining to the emergence of the beer bug and ridiculous government measures taken to combat it. Just to keep repeating this until people understand, Mike Ben says this is not a joke, not hyperbole, and not an overstatement. USAID was ordered into existence by President John F. Kennedy as a cheap and nimble means of countering Soviet aid and influence in the developing world. But by then, he saw the State Department was too hidebound and bureaucratic, but USAID has morphed into a $60 billion, $70 billion slush fund for largely domestic causes that are Soviet in their ambitions. I'm going to pull that banner off there real quick so it doesn't keep annoying me. Don't think just because we're learning all of this courtesy of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the Doge boys that we've won the war. From Anesthetica, a reliable ex-source with the Democrat friends in high places, claims that one connection told them that initial plans by the Democrats is to have their people at USAID hide the partisan funding under the unimpeachable initiatives. They will push back really hard on certain line items that on their face look like reasonable USAID expenditures and hide their political spending under these programs. And that sounds exactly right. There's too much money at stake for anyone to simply roll over. And what the hell? Look at this. U.S. government caught funding large-scale social deception through Thomson Reuters Special Services. Newly uncovered federal contract shows that Thomson Reuters Special Services LLC was awarded over $9 million for a secretive program labeled Active Social Engineering Defense, ASED, Large Scale Social Deception, LSD. The contract issued by the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, suggests that the U.S. government is funding large-scale influence operations designed to shape public narratives. Now, Thomson Reuters Special Services is owned by the same parent company as Reuters News Agency. The worst of all the influence and the grift, and I'll admit up front my biased invested interest here, is the millions fed to legacy media dinosaurs while the alternative media mammals scurry about deprived of sunlight. I relish competing in a free marketplace, particularly the marketplace of ideas, but this is America after all, and I'm capitalist and so is my employer. But it's hardly a free marketplace of ideas when taxes from my paycheck find themselves into the bank accounts of my commercial and ideological competitors. Sometimes, maybe too often, it feels like I have to remind readers that we need your support to fight as a VIP member. You can do that right now by clicking that little link 60% off, and you get a fight discount if you put that in there. And using media, Elon Musk told X users last year. Axios CEO Jim Van de High angrily shot back, "My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media." But the fact is, we are the media. The First Amendment is for everybody, not just the credentialed media class represented by the likes of NPR, Political, and every other outfit that either takes taxpayer dollars or wields its size like a club against free speech of others, all to prop up federal government-grown oppressiveness. Sorry, that took a lot. Eek. Yeah, I had no idea. No fun. Well, someone inhaler money. So much news, it's hard to take it all in. Sometimes it is. Sometimes there's a lot of news out there, and sometimes there's not a whole lot. And we got some more of this right here. I'm telling you. We have this one, which I think is pretty good. Let me pull this next one up because it's gonna be an interesting one. As you might be getting a little upset. Don't get upset, because you can just remember what this lady says.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.
I think you guys would get it. We do have the little Democrats, the bobbleheads, that are out there screaming, as they always like to do. They like to gather as many people as they can, cram them in front of a camera. Everybody gets their camera time, and they show indignant outrage. And why would they show indignant outrage? Well, why don't we find out?
Now, no one elected Elon Musk to nothing.
That's right.
Not one Democrat in America voted for Elon Musk.
Not one.
Not
You're
one
right.
Republican in America voted for Elon Musk.
Well, unless you were voting, for Tesla, or, putting in like stockholder votes, and then yeah, you were probably voting for Elon Musk, but I still like motherfucker. And it's got thee behind thee, which, yeah. So they're very upset because he is leading up the efficacy group because he can't be bought. Imagine this. What are they going to do? If you can't buy the person? See, that's been the problem with a lot of these oversight committees, is they're funded by lobbyists. They're funded by everybody. Elon doesn't need the money. He's doing this because he wants to see America succeed. So that drives them absolutely up the wall because well, if you can't hold that carrot of money over them, it takes away their ability to make millions upon millions of dollars. Just do a quick search and find out how much Elizabeth Warren is worth in her short tenure in this little her little scheme of being what do they call that, a senator? Yeah, during her little short tenure, which has been short considering she'd been there for a while, but it's still in the span of things, it's pretty short tenure. How much money has she made? Why not ask this other senator that's standing there right next to her, the one that looks like she got run over by a truck. She's got more track marks on her face than somebody that got their head stepped on, and they pulled the flesh back, just to snap it together. It looks horrible. So how much money is she making? How much money does she have? All these little lackeys that you see standing behind them, how many of those are multimillionaires? How many of their paychecks are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars every year for being part of the Washington scum, off of making rules and regulations that do nothing but profit them? Why would you want to listen to these guys right here? They've got a vested interest in making money, and it drives them up the damn wall that somebody's coming in there and they're going to cut off that spigot.
Not one independent in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one libertarian in America voted for Elon Musk. Damn, not one vegetarian in America voted for Elon Musk. And yet, Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people.
Really? But you've been hiding it from the American people. That's the thing. You've been hiding it from the American people for so long. I haven't and never will vote for any of them. But it's up to you. I mean, you can vote for whoever you want to, but they're getting their money. What do women and pudding pops have in common? What's with her freaking shrill? Good God. I mean, well, that's because she hasn't had anything to, I mean, this is, look at how I always get these screenshots. I don't know why it is, but I always get these screenshots. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're gonna do like a meme, what better meme do you have than the hand motion and the and Miss Ugly over there just staring it down like she's jealous. I'm just saying, if you want a screenshot, just say that's the one to have right there. I'll leave it there for a couple seconds so you guys can get that one. Sorry, I'm so bad at this.
We are here to fight back.
There's another one. Sorry, I'm so good at stopping those. Got it. Oh my God. I need to stop. I'm killing myself over here. I'm killing myself over here. Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Speaking of things that are a little odd is this other one that came out. I love this. Yeah, this was put out by Fox News. Oh, I know it drives people up the wall whenever I show something by the big mainstream media, but I think this is worth noting because you don't hear anybody else talking about this.
Well, we know he was on the plane, not only on the plane a couple times, multiple times. He traveled internationally with Jeffrey Epstein, and he was on the plane called the Lolita Express because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. He has been a friend of his, a continuing friend of his for years and years. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who hasn't spoken to him in many years, over a decade, after he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior. So that's the difference there. And I think Americans see the two-tier justice system.
Ouch.
But, we don't know. They're saying Clinton has not been to his private island, but he has traveled all over the world with Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow. That is insane. Mr. Private Nerd, please get back to flirting with this Hooters waitress.
I want to know why A.G. Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. They're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they
Imagine.
have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's insane. Yeah, why isn't that being talked about more? Well, because there's much other things that they would rather be talking about, and that is definitely not one of them. It's like they're getting hit on all sides. It's like this swamp of people is getting hit on all sides of all the shady things that they've been doing. And it doesn't end there, because you've got the EPA. The Democrats' emotional instability played a big part in the resounding defeat in the 2024 presidential election. Normal Americans, the normies in social media parlance, grew weary of the fever-pitched gaslighting from a party that has had no positive policy achievements or ideas to share with voters. They were essentially asking the electorate to participate in never-ending tantrum. And that worked out for them. Worked really well for them. Congressional Dem leadership, Democratic National Committee are devoid of any intellectual heft. Gone are the long-term thinkers and the savvy Democratic political strategists of yesteryear. The 2025 Dems are animalistic and reactive. When faced with clear data explaining how, where, and why they went wrong in 2024, they choose to react with heaping helpings of more of the same BS. When President Donald Trump's lean, mean administration machine goes about doing exactly what he promised on the campaign trail, the Democrats' only response has been a foot-stomping, snot-bubbling toddler rage fest. Now that Elon Musk has become the Dems' public enemy number 1.5, just behind President Trump, their screech du jour is all about unelected officials having power. They're also regurgitating the phrase shadow government a lot, which is absurd. There's nothing at all shadowy about what Musk and the Department of Government Efficacy, or DOGE, are doing. In fact, we're currently witnessing some of the most transparent governance in the United States history. After listening to them scream about threats to democracy for over a year, we're all aware that the Democrats don't know much, if anything, about the Constitution of the United States or how the government works, especially here in the era of hyper-regulation. One could say that congressional Dems are being deliberately obtuse when battling the Trump 47 administration, but I'm comfortable with saying that they're stupid. I'm writing this column today on February 5th, so it's only been 17 days since the Democrats were last huge fans of unelected government officials having undue influence in America. Actually, they were the greatest enablers of unelected officials running amok. Most of their dark, unelected magic was practiced at the EPA, also known as the Environmental Protection Agency. In its earliest days, the EPA was largely focused on protecting the environment. That's not what the 21st century incarnation of the agency is tasked with now. It's now a climate change hysteria propaganda factory and a primary vehicle for Democrats to dole out taxpayer-funded favors to Big Green. It's a grift factory. Here's the kicker. The Dems won't dare mention the EPA has over 14,000 employees, none of whom are elected. When there is a Democrat in the Oval Office, the agency is on a steady cycle of steroids growing bigger and more powerful by the day. These people have the power to kneecap entire industries that they decide aren't a good fit with their climate church of New World Order. I try to opt for eloquence when I can, but sometimes plain English works best. The Democrats are, once again, completely full of crap. If there is a full of crap scale, they're pushing its limits when it comes to their outrage about unelected officials. Side note, I have to start playing around with an AI image creation more. If my skills were better, I'd make a full of crap scale pick for this. Regarding their shadowy government fantods, what the Dems are really upset by is the fact that Musk and Doge are in the business of exposing all the shadowy stuff they've been up to. Their myriad of boondoggle rabbit holes are being discovered, cleared out, closed up. Fortunately for the EPA, there will be no toxic waste to worry about whenever Doge derails any of these gravy trains. Ouch. And that came from Stephen Cruzier. What a damn gentleman and a scholar. Trump is doing today what he should have done the first time. He learned a hard lesson. Absolutely. Yeah. The bureaucracy has already been weaponized. Yeah. That is so true. Did your mind go dirty? Oh, speaking of dirty minds, we have this right here coming in. And this came in, I believe it was the day before yesterday. Give a watch.
Chair recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's been a lot of pearl clutching over the last several days from my colleagues across the aisle on Donald Trump, Secretary Rubio, the Department of Government Efficiency's plan to reorganize the U.S. Agency for International Development, or as we all now know, USAID. They're screaming about Elon Musk over there, but hey, George Soros and his boy are okay. They scream that we're all a threat to democracy when they've been systematically dismantling democracy before our eyes. They've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar. And there's no going back. So I would tell my colleagues across the other side of the aisle, take your salty tears and sit right back down. USAID has long strayed from its mission to effectively and efficiently administer aid to advance American interests. USAID has become rotten to its core, sacrificing the prudent use of taxpayer dollars at the altar of advancing radical, sinister social and political agendas abroad. From discriminatory DEI initiatives to extreme gender ideology to marginalize real bona fide biological women.
That's Nancy Mace.
For decades, while homeless veterans sleep on our streets, our communities rebuild from natural disasters, and American families struggle to get by, USAID has pillaged and plundered the American treasury, essentially lighting American taxpayer dollars on fire, funding some of the stupidest, just dumbest initiatives imaginable, all supported by the left. And that's why their party is crumbling.
Ouch.
Today, I'm going to expose some of the initiatives USAID has funded over the years and ask each of you a yes or no question.
Just a yes
if you
or no.
believe these expenditures of American taxpayer dollars put America first. So it'll be yes or no. USAID awarded $2 million to strengthen trans-led organizations to deliver gender-affirming health care in Guatemala. So to each of you this morning, does this advance the interests of American citizens paying for trannies in Guatemala to the tune of $2 million? Yes or no? Governor?
I have no position.
Of course you don't. Okay,
course not.
USAID awarded over $750,000 to fund alleviating loneliness among migrant garment workers in India. Does this advance America's interests, Governor?
No.
No. I have no position.
Oh, of course not.
USAID awarded $1.5 million for providing a gender-sensitive response to migration at the Venezuelan border. Does this advance America's interests, Governor?
No.
No. I have no position.
Of course not.
Does this advance the interest? Okay, so USAID awarded $4.3 million on October 1st, 2023 to a group to fund comprehensive health services for men having sex with other men in South Africa. Does this advance the interests of American citizens, Governor?
No.
No. I have no position.
I bet you don't. Okay.
I bet he does have a position, but he doesn't want to say it. Effin Lennon Jr. has no position. Why am I not surprised? How did she and Keanu Reeves safely get off that bus? I don't know.
USAID awarded $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities by promoting economic empowerment and opportunity for LGBTQI plus people in Serbia. Does this advance America's interests?
No.
No. Nope.
You have no idea, right? Okay. USAID awarded over $70,000 to a group to deliver
Good
a
morning, it's
live
me.
musical event to promote the U.S. and Irish shared values of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. Does this advance the interests of America?
No. No position.
Of
No
course
position
not.
or no clue. Okay, USAID awarded $1.5 million to fund strengthening
Give it to 'em,
community
Nancy.
support structures to upscale LGBT rights advocacy in Jamaica. Does this advance our interests?
No.
No. No position.
USAID
bet he have a
awarded
position.
$28 million
Very
to a group to
special.
facilitate the economic insertion of Venezuelan migrants and refugees in Peru and Ecuador. Does this advance our interests?
No.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No position.
Okay, USAID awarded $17.5 million to fund voluntary medical male circumcision overseas. Does this advance America's interests?
No.
No. No position.
I don't know what circumcision overseas has to do with America First either.
Oh.
USAID awarded nearly $150,000 to fund HIV prevention services targeting men who have sex with men and transgender. Does this advance America's interests?
No.
No. No position.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm limited to 5 minutes, but these are the programs Democrats are so desperate to save. Our foreign assistance system is badly broken, and this ends now. Thank you, Mr.
Carrie's
Chairman. I
twin.
yield back.
Could be.
Gentlelady yields back.
Mr. Chairman, parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, sir.
The gentlelady has used a phrase that is considered a slur in the LGBTQ community and the transgender community.
Oh. What? Oh. You mean somebody's fifis got hurt? How many times have we heard this kind of garbage before, where people say, "Oh, that's considered a slur." Oh, what would that be? What does Mr. Connolly believe is a slur? Yeah, it's easy to throw these things out whenever you do these kinds of things regularly. We'd have to bend over to find a position. Yeah, you'd have to bend over. I don't think he can reach his. Never mind.
And let me please finish without interruption. And
Tranny. I don't really care. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Let
It's disgusting.
Really? Because I used to replace trannies for a living. I mean, that was part of the job that I did was, reach inside there, grab a hold of the engine, pull it out, the tranny and all, and then take apart, remove the tranny from the engine, and then, of course, replace that tranny with a new tranny, and then slap it back into a car. So how would that be considered a slur?
Gentleman, state his parliamentary inquiry.
to me, a slur is a slur. And here in the committee, a level of decorum requires us to try consciously to avoid slurs.
Okay, you want to know what a slur is? You want to know a slur that people find really offensive? How about cis, white, gender, blah blah blah? That right there is a slur. I don't like it. So does that mean that now because I'm offended, you can't say that anymore? Like go bark up another tree. Like why don't you learn a little bit of something better, Democrat from Virginia, Oversight and Government Reform Committee ranking member? Like why don't you just go swallow a dong?
You just heard the gentlelady actually actively, robustly repeat it. And I would just ask the chairman that...
Well, what's the word? What's the word? Why don't you say it? Oh, you too afraid you might have offend somebody in Virginia?
She be counseled that we ought not to be engaged. We can have debate and policy discussion without offending human beings who are our fellow.
Oh, really? Really? Without offending human beings? I'm offended just looking at you in your what is it? I can't really describe the face that he has there. It looks like Jar Jar Binks got like shaved and lost his ears.
Fellow citizens. And so I would ask, as a parliamentary inquiry.
I mean, you got this guy sitting behind you wearing a mask over his face, okay? I don't want to hear it. He's wearing a gag mask over his face. And you really want me to take into account anything that you have to say? Really? You want me to believe That's something that I should be concerned with, because I don't for a damn second trust any one of these little assholes one damn bit. I really don't. I have little faith in what they're trying to propagate there at all. At all. You know, here you got this guy wearing his little mask, getting all just bent out of shape because, oh my gosh, how dare you? How dare you? Here, this is for you. Eh, eh, eh. Or how about this one? That one's even better. Yeah, that's Sarah Boone, in case you guys didn't know, wearing a mask as she's creeping around. God, these bastards. What a bunch of waste of space assholes. Sorry.
Whether the use of that phrase is not, in fact, a violation of the decorum rules.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to be counseled by a man over men and women's spaces or men who have mental health issues dressing as women. I'm not being counseled by some guy.
My inquiry is to
over
the
this.
chairman,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Order. The inquiry is about decorum. Decorum is at the discretion of the chair.
That's
I will be
mansplaining,
honest
Mr. Chairman.
with the ranking member. I'm not up to date.
Give them hell. Give them hell,
Politically
Nancy.
correct LGBTQ terminology. We'll look into that and get back with you on that. I don't know what's offensive and what's not. I don't know much about pronouns or
I appreciate that,
offensive
Mr. Chairman.
terms.
Mr. Chairman, we don't have to
community.
anymore.
So,
I thank the chair for his willingness
Nice.
to further engage in this matter.
all right.
Nancy gave him hell. He's not upset that she just called out wasteful spending on things. He's not concerned about that. Oh, no. He's not a bit concerned about that. He's more concerned about, oh, you used the wrong pronoun on somebody. Do you think he's really upset about it? I don't think he is. Speaking of the rainbow pronouns, this morning, the briefing, the rainbow rage mob, it takes another hit from Trump. And this comes from Stephen Cruz, your morning briefing. Guerre remains the most suspicious of all cheeses in the minds of many. The list of insane things that Democrats attempted to normalize during the Biden dark cloud years is not light reading. People frequently talk about two Americas to describe the huge political divide in the United States. As far out as Democrats were from 2021 to 2025, two galaxies may have been more apt description. At the top of the straitjacket list was the Democrats' obsession with all things transgender. Never has a fringe of fringe had so much attention lavished on by people in power. With the way that Dems went on and on, one would think every third person in America was transgender. We were plunged into a world where experts were insisting that males could get pregnant, lactate, and be considered girls for purposes of athletic competition. They were never able to make any progress with pregnancy and lactation thanks to the Democrats and their minions in public education and academia. However, mediocre biological male athletes were able to start competing against females in high school and college sports. Well, thanks to President Trump's relentless pursuit of returning the country to some sense of normalcy, that's over with here now. This is from Robert. On Wednesday, however, President Trump signed an executive order entitled No Men in Women's Sports. It's a hallmark of our age of absurdity that such an order even had to be issued. But Trump is commended for making it happen. Fox News reported Wednesday that Trump chose the date for this signing carefully, as it was National Girls and Women's Day, Sports Day. After all, women's sport was nearly obliterated over the last 4 years by all the men parading around calling themselves female names and demanding that the whole world play along with their charade. I know it's charade, but whatever. The problem escalated quickly under Biden. My daughter was an NCAA athlete who graduated in 2020, and there was never any talk of a dude showing up to a race. It never came up when she was in high school in Southern California, where one would have thought that the unfortunate trend may have started. While Democrats were busy running dreams of young female athletes in the name of diversity, they were also busy demonizing anyone who opposed them as transphobic bigots. Kowtowing to the extreme fringe became so important to them that the feminists who hadn't shut their mouths for 40 years suddenly had nothing to say about the rights of young women being trampled upon by males. President Trump's executive order means that young female athletes can train hard and not have to worry about a failed male athlete wiping out their dreams. Here is an NCAA President Charlie Baker's response, which Matt wrote about. The NCAA is an organization made up of 101,000 colleges and universities in all 50 states that collectively enroll more than 350,000 student athletes. Baker's statement said, "We strongly believe that clear, consistent, and uniform eligibility standards would best serve today's student athletes instead of a patchwork of conflicting state laws and court decisions. To that end, President Trump's order provides a clear national standard." Yes, that's the uber squish Republican former governor of Massachusetts, Charlie Baker, who has thus far been an embarrassment on transgender issues. It's a little surprising to me that he didn't whine about the order because he's been that awful in the past. Perhaps it's becoming clearer to those who are Trump averse what he's doing with his second term is popular and necessary. If it isn't, it will be soon. And I know there's going to be music on this, so give me just a second. Because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble because there we go. There we go. Now I can play it. Yeah. See, you got to be a little bit smarter than the YouTube sometimes. Yeah, they'll get you for the YouTube problems there. Look at him go. Look at him go. He made it. And this is the 3-letter scream response of the day. The caterwauling after listening to them scream about threats to democracy over a year. We're all aware that Democrats don't know much, if anything, about the Constitution of the United States or how the government works, especially here in the era of hyper-regulation. One could say that congressional Dems are being deliberately obtuse when battling the Trump 47 administration, but I'm comfortable with saying that they're stupid. I love it. I love it. Say a prayer for you. Headed to Blue City to meet their government this morning. Well, prayers out to you. If I remember correctly, this maneuver was reported on InfoWars. Another, no wonder the left is on the attack. They also joined UN and other running camp in SA to gather and transport immigrants. Yeah, that is absolutely true. But I've got to show you another one. Because if you thought that they were laying off on you on Donald Trump, no, they're doubling down on Donald Trump and going after him, because we're not even but a little bit over a week in to Trump being president, and they're already doing this.
And still I rise, Mr. Speaker. And I rise today, Mr. Speaker, with a to whom it may concern message. To whom it may concern, ethnic cleansing in Gaza is not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke. And the Prime Minister of Israel should be ashamed, knowing the history of his people, to stand there and allow such things to be said. Ethnic cleansing has been a crime against humanity. And I stand here today in the well to denounce what was said, to denounce what the President said, to denounce the complicity of the Prime Minister of Israel.
Agreed.
And to remind people that Dr. King
Tell
was
them to
right.
shut up, sit down.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And injustice in Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States.
Now, I didn't see him standing up whenever the Palestinians were walking into Israel and during a music concert and kidnapping even American citizens. Whenever they started popping off and putting little pew-pews into concert goers. Yeah, I didn't see him standing up about that ethnic cleansing. Where was he then? Where was he whenever Iran was firing rockets into Israel? Where was his outrage then? Where was his outrage with Joe Biden whenever Joe Biden was pulling the wool over everyone's eye? Where was his outrage whenever Joe Biden pardoned his family? Where was the representative Al Green?
United States of America, I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done. I also rise to say that the impeachment movement is going to be a grass-up movement, not a top-down.
More like an ass-up movement.
The people have got to move forward. The people have to demand it. And when the people demand it, it will be done. I did it before. I laid the foundation for impeachment, and it was done. Nobody knows more about it than I. And I know that it's time for us to lay the foundation again. On some issues, it is better to stand alone than not stand at all. On this issue, I stand alone, but I stand for justice. I yield back the balance of my time.
Yeah, and how much justice did you stand up for after the hurricanes hit Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee? How much justice did you stand up for in the state of Georgia? Whenever these people were asking for help and they were given a $750 loan, how did that make you feel? Were you happy then? Were you proud then? What was it then? What was your excuse then for not standing up for him? Maybe you were like this lady right here.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. We're getting close to the end here. Getting close to the end. And they got the screen caps better than I do. Noise is all Democrats have now, and they're not even good at that anymore. There's a point I was always trying to make with friends and relatives who aren't neck deep in politics when they ask me about something that isn't dominating a news cycle or two. It's something, better yet, another false narrative that's being spread by Democrats and their flying monkeys in the mainstream media. I'll explain that Democrats who are driving the narrative aren't representative of all the Democrats in America. It's the ones who are tasked with smearing BS all over the place, have more access to microphones, and or spend disproportionate amount of times on social media. They're not smart, influential, or right about anything. They're just louder than everyone else. The Democrats are still operating from their 2020 coup tyrant 2020 playbook. There's no 4D chess going on with this move. They're simply unaware that the entire world has moved on from the things that they were getting away with back then. Even a humiliating election loss to a man that they did everything to destroy hasn't gotten the message through to them. So they protest, shout, and engage in useless grandstanding. The only policy options they can offer people are bribes. Having no appeal to young voters, they try to buy them off with college loan forgiveness. Even after being told that that wasn't legal, they kept trying it. You could practically smell the desperation. Now, while President Trump's lean, mean administration machine goes on doing exactly what he promised on the campaign trail, the Democrats' only response has been a foot-stomping, snot-bubbling toddler rage fest. Anyone who has ever raised a toddler knows that they will eventually scream themselves into exhaustion and stop at that age. They probably also forget that they were upset with in the first place. I don't think that the Democrats have worn themselves out yet, but they seem to be moving in that direction. Now, Matt wrote on Tuesday that the Dems' latest hissy fit as Elon Musk and Department of Government Efficacy dismantled the terrorist slush fund, laughingly named USAID. Democratic leaders did the only thing they know how to do anymore. They gin up a mob. And how tired is this shtick? I'm not going to play that because I don't have a whole lot of time. Look, trying to use Chuck Schumer's energy to fire up a crowd is like trying to use a scratch and sniff pictures of Maxine Waters to cure erectile dysfunction. Rarely has utility looked this sad and has never been this entertaining. Remember, this is the cream of the Democrat crop. It's highly possible that reality never hit those Dem elites. They're steeped in delusion. If it does, however, I'd pay well to be there at that moment of realization. Now, it gets a little bit more involved in some of these things here. And this is going to be the next one right here. Department of Government Efficacy has started making moves. DC media are furious about its attempts to cut government agencies. Take Elon Musk's side. For more efficient government has been promised, often has never happened. Instead, government just grew. Senator Rand Paul showcased stupid government investments like the 118,000 study of finger snapping, which the National Science Foundation said was inspired by the infamous finger snap of the comic book Thanos. The government concluded that varying degrees of friction between the fingers alters performance of a snap. Well, gee, thanks. They even spent thousands of dollars studying whether Neil Armstrong landing on the moon said one small step for man or one small step for a man. NASA says no A is audible in the recordings and never heard an A, but we all paid for an expensive study in which the Science Foundation concluded ambiguity exists. Gee, thanks. They also spent $1.5 million to study ways to improve the taste of tomatoes. Researchers found that sugar helps. America is going broke. Silly rich people should fund such frivolous research. Taxpayers shouldn't. But each special interest will fight for its life. Even Musk cuts all such funding. It would barely affect our ever-increasing deficit. Let's look at bigger cuts. In this new video that he has, Chris Edwards, the editor of Cato Institute's downsizing government website, says the first thing he would cut is over $1 trillion in subsidies to states and local governments, K through 12 school funding, school lunch funding, food stamp funding. Giving people food stamps sounds kind, but Edward notes that taxpayers fund candy and cake, and when state government has to eliminate junk food, they're not allowed to do so. Giving people that really states aren't allowed to limit welfare payment for junk food. Edwards also proposes cuts to corporate welfare. Federal government spends $180 billion a year subsidizing corporations, but that doesn't help the average person. More could be saved by selling the government stockpile of unbelievable 300,000 buildings. Many sit empty. The ones in his video look first class, but government still won't sell them. Nor do bureaucrats sell land they don't use. The federal government owns a lot, including most of the land in America's West. We don't know the market value, says Edwards, but it's in the trillions. Instead of selling, politicians print more money and use it to buy even more land, like Biden's recent purchase of 640 acres in Wyoming. President Donald Trump says he will make cuts. Will he? Last time he didn't. This time he seems more serious about it. He recently moved to end DEI programs, telling federal DEI workers don't come in, but he's still paying them. It's very difficult to fire federal workers, Edwards points out. Also, even if Trump managed to fire every federal employee, it wouldn't eliminate the deficit. It's almost impossible to do that without cutting the biggest spending: defense, Medicare, Social Security. So far, Trump says he won't touch those. Trump does not have solve the entire deficit problem in his 4 years in office, says Edwards, but he's got to get the ball rolling. Government doesn't need to balance the budget. If it just slowed spending growth, the private economy might grow enough to reduce the debt. How can the private sector grow when there's so many regulations? SpaceX had to do a study to see if Starship would hit a shark. Musk complains. He said he told the regulators it's a big ocean. You know, there's a lot of sharks. It's not impossible. When regulators finally dropped their shark objections, Musk thought the SpaceX launch was approved. We said, okay, now we're done. They said, what about whales? If the rocket goes underwater, then explodes and the whales have hearing damage. This is real. It goes on and on. Maybe Musk will change that. Oh, I hope so. To overcome our ruinous deficits, we need growth. To get that, we need less government spending and fewer rules. And that comes from John Stossel. He's the author of Give Me a Break, How He Exposed Hucksters, Cheats, and Scam Artists and Became a Scourge of the Liberal Media for Other Creators, Syndicate Writers, and Cartoonists. Go visit www.creators.com. John Stossel has been around for quite some time. What is diversity, equity, and inclusion? That's what DEI is, Gina. That means that if you have a certain color or a certain race or a certain sexual proclivity, that they believe that you're excluded from the rest of the world. And they want to make sure that anybody that is not is excluded from the world. That's what DEI means. It means that it wants to segregate people into nice little social baskets, and a lot of people aren't having it. A lot of people are sick of it. A lot of people are done with the garbage, and it's going to show. But I do have one more thing for you before I kick all of you fine people over to go and check out Mo in the Deep End. She should be live. It's this right here, the best voiceover ever. The accuracy is unbelievable. If you were here earlier, you know what's coming, and you don't want to miss this. Right here, the best voiceover ever.
You take my back, you take my back, you take my back. You take my breath away, you take my breath away, you take my breath away.
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Early morning, rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god. Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.